back in town after bussing around. Oh my goodness. You know what's funny though? I love this little town, and it has a tiny little bus that goes to the bus depot in Smoky Point, which is, I was thinking, it's such a contrast. And it's a little bit, not scary, but it's like when I was walking to one of the stores after I got into Smoky Point, like there was a woman sitting in the grass looking like maybe she'd been crying or something like that. And I just asked if, everything was okay. And it was very clear within a couple of seconds, really, that she was in another dimension. Let's put it that way. And just walking around seeing things, it's funny because, like, they're putting up the big Amazon warehouse out here, which, I mean, if you're a big, business mogul chain, it's a smart idea, actually, because there's a lot of people around this area that are really looking for work. Though it got me to thinking, though, about a number of topics. Which one to start with, right? So the title of this video. First, I want to laugh because I totally got the picture in it of the no smoking sign next to where I am. I seem to, like, I realized a long time ago that I tend to take selfies a fair amount when I'm standing near one, and so I just started taking pictures with them there. It's my little bit of deviousness, and it's kind of a funny inside joke, especially with my guides, because a lot of times I get pegged as a troublemaker, and I'm really not. I mean, I am, but in good ways, not in the ways that people typically associate with a troublemaker. In any case, I was thinking about a YouTube short. I was just talking about it, I think, in an earlier video that Sadhguru did. He's one of my favorite spiritual teachers to observe, experience. I'm not sure, it's kind of an experience to listen to him and to watch what he does. He's not like anybody else. And that's exactly what I love about him, right? So, as I said in the other video, like, my oldest son and I were talking about how interesting is it that, like, within the last 4 months, I started talking about selfishness, like the spiritual evolution, the experience, the experiment, I was going to say excitement, but that's not quite it. I don't know. The embracing your shadows with love. Oh, wow. The sun just finished going down quite a bit in the back. It's funny. And then to find, like, 7 days ago now, that one of the biggest spiritual teachers in the world right now is talking about selfishness. And I love it because, like, he was definitely on, I'm sure that he's known about this far longer than I have, but I love that he's now talking about it. And it was just a short, like, I really hope that he talks about it, more of it, but if he don't, I will, because I've been learning a lot about it from all sorts of angles and aspects, And it was this idea of, like, inclusive selfishness versus exclusive selfishness, because, like, we talk about being selfless all the time, though this is the human experience. It comes with ego specifically because we wanted to experience, drum roll please, self, right? We wanted to experience that. And yes, it's a noble goal to go and be selfless. I mean, look at the Buddhists, right? So you can have that experience. Though typically, if you're going to be selfless, egoless, there's not much time or space in your energy to enjoy things. I mean, have you ever loved chocolate mousse cake? Do you enjoy Oreos? Like, do you like the experience of meeting new people and knowing that it's kind of a roulette game, that you don't know who they're going to be until you get a chance to know them, right? Like, do you like life experiences? Do you like feeling like you have friends? Do you like feeling loved? Do you like giving love, right? These things are all tied into ego. We want those experiences, which means we want self, right? So what the funny thing is it's really kind of a trick question or trick thing to think about, because how do we put it? It's like those who say they are the most selfless. Let's look at communism just briefly. A lot of times that is for the good of everyone, right? Let's be selfless. And I'm not saying there aren't benefits to communism. Actually, I'm a firm believer that all ideologies and all dynamics of social systems and stuff work when you have 500 or fewer people. And there's been studies done on it. It's really 250, but you could stretch it to 500 because most people at that point, you're not squishing the minority too much. And, if there's multiple systems around, there's something for everybody, which is what America was supposed to be. Anyways, can't really start something that beautiful though on the blood of others. I'm just saying. But I like the dream. I'm like, I like that. I want to manifest that world where everybody can have their space and be respected and prosperous and loved and that's just who I am. Anyways, I was thinking about the selfishness thing in consideration of like when I was on the bus. There was a person who they were sitting across from me. I didn't notice a lot about them until their phone hit the ground. And then I saw their hand was shaking and I thought, "Oh no, are they having like a seizure or something?" And I said, "Hey, are you all right?" And they woke up and a little bit and they were like, yeah." And so I said, "Okay." And I picked up their phone because they didn't seem to see it and gave it to them. And I realized they also were in another dimension. And I was thinking about that. I saw them later when I walked to Walmart and I walked back. They were at an intersection with a sign asking for change and stuff. And I was thinking about it. You know, I know like my family and other people I've talked to, they would very much be like, homelessness, drug addicts, like that's like my impression of their energy. And they do that about a lot of things, though. It's never just one thing. Like if there wasn't the homeless, it would be COVID. If it wasn't that, it would be the school system. It would be the government. This and that. And don't you think that I can't preach for ages and years about government shit? However, I was thinking about a lot of like Sadhguru and Deepak Chopra were doing a talk that I listened to recently too. That they were talking about like all the things that we're trying to safeguard ourselves from. The reason we have them is because we're not taking care of the earth and we're not taking care of ourselves, and we're getting into these big like victimhood consciousness situations and hero villain victim stuff. And effectively when we poison the earth, we poison ourselves. Like he was talking about, like there's been studies done in a lot of major cities, and young people even are getting these like idiopathic inflammatory problems, which is something that I'm dealing with. Right. And lo and behold, guess what? I feel a lot better in the smaller towns. I did the minute that I left the big cities, for my road trip, I felt better. And then spending some time in a little tiny town called Lava Hot Springs, that helped a lot. And now being out here in this area where I'm at also feels better. I can do more. I can feel better. Like, yeah, things still hurt. I got osteoarthritis. Come on, but my mind is in a better place with it too. And I don't have to take as much ibuprofen. I don't have to moderate things quite as much. And I was wondering why that was. And I know some of it also has to do with the land and various different mystical things that I'm aware of. But I could see it. Like, think about the amount of people that are around you. Think about the amount of things that happen. Like, we effectively are like we're like cells, organisms inside a body, that we're all on the earth. And the ways that we think, the ways that we act have a direct effect around us. Quantum physics has already proven multiple times that our electromagnetic energy has an effect on everything around us and everyone around us. And and it's funny because it's catching up to like ancient knowledge, surprisingly, especially tantra, or not surprisingly, but like it's funny that it like lines up with a lot of the stuff that people go, "Ooh, that's taboo, don't be doing that." But when I was looking at like the woman on the side of the road and the man in the bus, and like in my mind, my first thought was like, "Oh, they're high," and then my second thought was, "Thank you, Spirit, for blessing them with cosmic energy, with cosmic love, helping them get whatever it is that they need." Because I don't know. I'm not the judge of that. Everybody's got different paths and different things that they're learning. But I was thinking about it, and like I've been seeing and hearing of a lot of people for a long time. They're going, "Oh, the homeless, no, the garbage, no this, no that," and it's like, how much you could benefit the thing that triggers you and the rest of the world simply by changing your thoughts. Like, our thoughts have a direct effect on the electromagnetic energy around us. In fact, they believe that our thoughts are partly a product of that electromagnetic energy. It has an effect, you know? And I was thinking about how, it's funny, it's selfish. It is, but it's like Sadhguru is saying, it's inclusive selfishness. Like, do you think that I want to be sitting on buses that my kid might get on where people are high, which means they're unpredictable, or they could have seizures, or they do stuff like that? Do you think I'm unaware that when people are high, they could do some really fucked up shit? No, I'm not. I'm not, but I also can still have empathy. And a lot of, like, I was thinking about the Amazon warehouse, they're probably going to drug test for that. And within good reason. I'm not saying that that's not smart economically and stuff, but what happened to, thinking about people being empathetic? Because, a lot of these people who are out here on drugs, it's because they don't know what to do. They weren't taught how to be socially appropriate. They weren't taught what to do when the economy falls apart. And a lot of them are doing drugs to try to escape from the reality that they're sleeping in parks. They're sleeping on the sides of roads. When we were over on Casino Road, do you know how many times I walked up and down the street and there were people in sleeping bags and garbage bags just trying to hide in a bush to get some sleep? Like, a lot of these, nobody comes out of the womb going, I'm going to be a drug addict, and what benefit does it give us? Like, be selfish for a minute and tell me, what benefit does it give you to think about people in that way? Like, oh, they're fucking tweakers, or they're drug addicts, or they're alcoholics. Like, what benefit does that give you? Does it make you feel superior? Because as far as I've ever heard, when anyone ever says that, usually they're already unhappy about other things in their life, and they wouldn't like people using terms like that for them, because there ain't nobody who's perfect. Sorry, honey. If you think you're perfect, it ain't happening. We've all got things that we can be called that get to the core of what we're doing. But if you really want to be selfish and you want to help the world and be selfish, then start changing the way you think. Like, I'm not saying you got to empty out your change jar to help every homeless person, but maybe we change a few things. Maybe we make it so there are programs in big companies like Amazon that, have to allow a certain amount of people to have an opportunity. There's plenty of people that have gone through, like, our country is one of the only ones that when you've done a crime and you've served your time and you come out, that we still punish you for it. And there are some crimes, I'm not saying that I necessarily disagree with that but almost every other country, at least well, not even just the bigger ones, a lot of the smaller ones, once you've done your time, you've done your time. That's the whole point of it. But we're one of the only cultures that, like, from childhood on up, we teach that you do not get to escape the things that you have done, the things that you have, the mistakes you have made. And think about that. Like, if you've been a drug addict, even if you get cleaned up, it's still in your mind, and people still treat you like it's a crazy thing. And you have to think about that when getting jobs. If you've done a crime, the same thing. If it's not as bad as, once upon a time ago, when if you got divorced, you also couldn't get that. But there's still plenty of things like that happen. And if we just change it in our minds, like, when we see somebody who's struggling, it's not like you have to give them what you have. I'm not saying don't. Like, if I have food on me, I give it to somebody. If I got my EBT card on me and I see somebody's hungry outside, I buy them some food, because why the fuck not? If I got a few dollars, I'm not just saying it that I'm only generous when I have, taxpayer stuff. No, I do this with my own fucking money too, because I get it. And, I've not been fully in those positions, but I've had my fair share of people who did not want to help when it was warranted, when I could have got myself on my own feet, things like that, and being judged. Like, who likes that? How is that helpful to anybody? Nobody likes that. And if we just stop, and when we see somebody that's doing something that maybe we don't agree with, or we don't like, or that's hurtful, or that makes messes, any of it, what if instead of being like, oh, damn it, there's a human, we're like, you know what, thank you, spirit, or whatever of the infinite beings out there that you worship or tune into, thank you for, bringing this person and all these people what they need and what they want to feel inner peace, to be able to pursue something that makes them feel great about who they are. I mean, you can pray whatever you want, but just consider also that what you pray for, you get back too. And so there's another bit of selfishness. See, I wasn't even thinking about that, but that is another bit of selfishness, Whatever you pray for another person, you pray for yourself and you get it too. So think about it. If you're sitting there thinking whether I mean if you follow for my twin flame stuff and you're thinking about your DM and karmics, or if you follow for tarot and its other stuff, career stuff, whatever you follow for, think about it. I know that you've got some people in your world that you're like, I don't like what they're doing, and they've hurt me, and they've done this and that, and things like that. Well, think about it. Your thoughts are your prayers. That's your communication to the universe, to yourself, to everyone else. If you're praying shitty, if you're thinking shitty thoughts about others, guess what you're calling into yourself? Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to be selfish, I want goodness for me. I want to be uplifted. I want to have fun. I want people to like me. I want to do amazing, legendary things that maybe that have not never been done before, but just do them in my way. And I want people to love it, right? So I pray that for others. I pray that for you. I pray that for every person that I see on the side of the road. I pray that for every person that has ever messed up, big, small, any of it. Because you know what? I want to be selfish too. I have been being selfish, and I want to continue to be selfish, and I want everyone to understand the value in selfishness. You know what? The thought that just came into my head is I've been wanting to do TED Talks. And there's a couple different things that I want to talk about, but I was just thinking, wouldn't that be a hilarious TED Talk, right? If I did a TED Talk about selfishness. Anyways, y'all, I have some things to do. I am a busy Capricorn, technically single mom, trying to get an apartment for me and my kiddos so we can do legendary things from an apartment too. All right, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. And if you're feeling selfish, leave me a comment below and tell me about what selfish things that you're sending out into the world to get back.